Okay, welcome to video number 2 in this Better Than 6 series, managing your mind with your thoughts. From the last video, I introduced thoughts and I said that at the end, the thoughts are always the problem. Meaning, when you come to coaching with me, you'll have a story about this thing that you're dealing with and how it's a problem in your life. Then we'll separate out the thoughts from the facts. Remember the mother-in-law story with the spaghetti? Facts are something everyone in the world could agree on, and thoughts are all the other sentences in our brain. Then I help you realize that it's your thoughts causing the problem, not the facts. For instance, if someone told my dog she was stupid, she wouldn't care because she wouldn't have a thought about it because she's a dog. And as much as I want to believe that my dog is an enlightened, spiritual being, she's a dog, and we know that dogs are not capable of complex human-type thoughts. Okay, she's not going to be depressed or sad that I told her she was stupid because she doesn't have a thought about what I'm saying. Or if someone said I'm stupid and I didn't hear them, which I'm sure happens all the time, I wouldn't get upset because I've never heard them. It's our consciousness, our brain, our thoughts that actually generate any type of emotion within our body. So if someone told you you're stupid, you are going to feel a certain way depending on your thought about what they said. Now, many of my clients, myself included, when I started doing this work, don't realize they even have a thought in there. They just assume, I feel upset because she said I was stupid. And I want you to think about the thoughts like they're at a buffet table, okay? All the thoughts are available to you. Which ones are you choosing to have? So someone says you are stupid to you. This is a fact. It's factual that this thing was said, that those words came out of that person's mouth, okay? So let's brainstorm some thoughts that you would come up with if you heard someone say, you are stupid, okay? You might think, she's right, or she's a jerk, or she must hate me, or I wish I wasn't stupid. I would be more loved if I wasn't stupid, or I will always be stupid. You might think, I need to prove to her that I'm not stupid. Or you might think, I thought she was my friend. Friends shouldn't say things like that. You might even go so far as to say, I don't have any friends. So this is the first step, becoming aware of the thoughts we're having. Okay? When we have awareness of these default thoughts, then we can examine them in the model that I explained in the last video to see if they are doing any good. I would guess a feeling would be self-doubt. Okay, if you're believing this person saying she's right, in your mind, you're saying she's right about that thing that she said, you're going to have a feeling of self-doubt. And when you feel self-doubt, what do you do? Think about that. It might look something like isolating from people or judging yourself to other people, comparing yourself to others. Or you might be so overwhelmed with this self-doubt feeling that you go and overeat or you overwork, other reasons why you're so awful, okay? So what's the result of that? As long as you're believing that thought, she's right, you don't allow yourself to acknowledge how amazing you actually are right in that moment, okay? Without changing, without having to prove anything to anybody. You're not acknowledging that right now, as you are, you're 100% worthy human being. Another result is you're allowing that person to have power over your feelings. This is a lot of times when we say, because she said that, then I feel this feeling, but we're not acknowledging that thought that we're having that gives us that feeling. So we're really giving all the power over our feelings to that person. Another result is you're less likely to feel good about yourself and feel your worth because you feel like you need to prove yourself that you're not stupid, okay? It all goes back to you thinking she's right. Sometimes we call these default thoughts or unintentional thoughts because they pop up so easily in our brain. We don't really have to put effort into a thought like that. It's so easy. Really, it's our brain actually trying to preserve energy, okay? Which is what the brain is actually designed to do, by the way. So when you come into coaching with me and I say nothing is wrong with you or your brain, That's what I mean. It's working precisely how it's meant to. Our brains need energy to create a new habit, or in this case, a new thought. We can't possibly expect our brains to think about everything we do, think, or say in every moment of the day. Okay, think about getting in the shower. We don't really think about it. We just do it. And unless we are intentionally trying not to, we wash the same body part and with the same hand in the same way every time. And that's a good thing, because not thinking about washing our body frees up our brain to think about so many other things. For some people, myself included, their greatest thinking comes in the shower. So it's actually a good thing you don't have to think about every single thing you're doing while showering, okay? So this applies to our thoughts. Our brain many times goes into default mode with our thoughts. It takes time and energy to stop and even figure out what our thoughts are, then to analyze them, and then to figure out if they're beneficial to us. So be gentle on yourself when you come to coaching and we're doing this work together, because your brain is working really hard. This is also why it's wise to pick one thing to coach on, like relationships or time management or overeating, because our brain is working really hard thinking new thoughts and developing those new habits. Have you ever tried to set like a ton of New Year's resolutions? This happens to me every year. This is what I do. I set a ton of New Year's resolutions, and then I'm so overwhelmed by them that I didn't actually end up doing any of them. It's because your brain doesn't have that much capacity or energy to do and think about all of those things all at once. Okay? One thing at a time. In this program, our one thing right now is just learning the concepts and making slow, steady changes by applying them to ourselves and to our relationships. If you find a thought that isn't creating the result you want in your life and you want to change it, you can do that today. You can do it right now. But for most people, it takes time and work, mostly because people aren't even aware of their thoughts. But once you gain awareness, then we can work on your mindfulness, which is governing our mind, sorting through the thoughts, and deciding if it's useful to us. Okay, so most people need a bridge thought, or several bridge thoughts. Think about where you are right now. In this example, the person said, "You're stupid," and your thought is, "She's right, I'm stupid." Okay, a lot of people think that when they realize that thought is what's making me miserable, so I'll just think the completely opposite thought, so I'll be happy. Okay, I'll just think she's stupid. That would be the opposite, maybe. First, don't do that. So thinking the opposite thing doesn't always feel great either. And we'll talk about that later. Also, we're going to learn in the next video about feelings and how they're all part of the human experience. So we're not always trying to change our thoughts just so that we change feelings and try to escape them, okay? I'm going to talk all about how to feel our feelings. Your brain is not going to believe the opposite thought right now because your brain's smarter than that. Your thought right now is, "She's right." Okay, that's what your brain is thinking. And apply this to your life. Some of you might be watching this and thinking, "I would never believe someone was right when they told me I was stupid." But just apply it to something in your life that you've had a similar experience like this, okay? So what do? This is where a thought download really comes in handy. A thought download is when you take all your thoughts about the situation and you list them all out. Don't judge your thoughts, good or bad. Just get them all down and see what comes up. Now, try to find some thoughts that feel good. This can be a challenge too. Sometimes we're just thinking, what other possible and believable thought could I have about this situation? When you come to your sessions with me, I will help you with this, okay? So don't worry, there's help. Ultimately, where you want to be with your thoughts, on the other side of that bridge, that could look like, "I don't care what she says. I decide who or what I am." But since your brain right now is so used to thinking that negative thought and believing what other people say about you and allowing others to dictate how you feel, it's really hard to cross that river, okay, to jump to the completely opposite side. So you want to provide something in between, a bridge thought. It's like this: "It's possible that she's wrong, about what she said. Okay? So if that thought feels good to you, and again, you would come up with these thoughts, okay? I can help you think of some, but it's really your brain that needs to come up with these thoughts because your brain is the one that needs to believe them. So if your brain offers you, it's possible that she's wrong about that, and if that feels good to you, then you practice it. You practice thinking it. Just like everything else you've practiced in your life, from crawling and walking and talking to practicing an instrument or a sport or a new skill, it takes time and consistency. And you most likely aren't going to do it perfectly right away. That old thought, she's still right, just might sneak back in there a few times. But now you have awareness of this thought and you can be mindful of it. And when you're mindful of your thoughts, you can train your brain to think a new thought. And the more you practice it, the better you'll get. Okay, now when we're doing thought work, a lot of people come to me with this, they ask about their beliefs. Aren't my beliefs true? Or people use the phrase, my truth, that's just my truth. Whatever you're used to calling it, if it's in your brain and it's a sentence and it can't be proven factually, it is a thought, okay? Beliefs are just accumulations of thoughts. It's like an accumulation of thoughts over time that we've chosen to believe, okay? It's really interesting too, excuse me, because when we believe our thoughts, ideas, beliefs to be true as though they're facts, then when people don't believe the same way, we believe they are wrong. And we can actually create a lot of feelings of judgment and anger or confusion about that. So think about your thoughts about politics, religion, about education, about values. What happens when someone doesn't share these same beliefs? And yet we know we don't want the world to think exactly the same as us because that would be creepy and unchallenging and boring. I believe, there's that word again, it would defeat the whole point of us actually being here on this earth, okay? So recognize that thoughts are a big deal. A lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about because they aren't used to even recognizing what's going on in their own brain. For instance, I had a client tell me she was feeling lonely. And I said, well, tell me about that. And she said, well, I'm just not good at making friends and meeting new people. That's her belief about herself, okay? She went on with this story with all this evidence to prove her belief to be true, such as, I showed up at the party and I didn't talk to anyone. And there was another time I was invited to a party and I didn't go. And then she said, when my husband has a work event, I just sit at the bar and watch people and I don't ever know what to say, okay? So notice what the client is doing here. She has a belief, and what is that? It's the thought that she had. I'm just not good at making friends. And she's gathering all this evidence to support that belief, supported by all the times that she didn't make friends. So let's do a model, okay, and see why this belief is hurting her. The circumstance, I'm at a party. The thought, I'm just not good at making friends. That's the thought she's coming into this party with. I'm not good at making friends. The feeling she's creating, in this case, was self-doubt. And her actions, well, she already gave us some. She sits at the bar. She doesn't talk to anyone. Then she also is ruminating about all the times she didn't make friends. Then she's also drinking more and isolating from people. Her result in this situation is she prevents herself from ever making friends. See how this client creates her own result of not making friends with her thought, I'm just not good at making friends. So interesting how we create our own results. We create the way we show up in the world with our thoughts in our brain, okay? She's at a party and she's believing she's not good at making friends. She's remembering all the previous times that she didn't do it. What if the same client with the same history of not making friends went to the same party? So what if her bridge thought or her new intentional thought was, there could be someone at this party I could talk to? Okay, that's a bridge thought. It gets her from this I don't have any friends, to where she wants to be on the other side of the river. Okay, it's not like right away she's walking into this party thinking, I'm going to be friends with everybody at this party. She's just having a little baby step, a little bridge thought that says there could be someone at this party I could talk to. See how the energy in the body changes? There could be someone at this party I could talk to. Now the woman's feeling becomes curious. She's not believing there's no one, but she's also not believing that everyone is her friend. She's thinking there could be someone, okay? Her brain is able to grasp onto that thought. That thought feels true to her. When a person feels curious, there's a big difference in their actions than when they're feeling self-doubt. Some more unintentional or default thoughts that feel true, that my clients have actually come to me believing these were true things. I don't know enough. It's normal to be overweight. I need to have dessert every day. Never trust anyone. My husband, sister, friend, whatever, doesn't care about me. I get that one a lot. People shouldn't fight about politics. If everyone would agree with me, then life would be so much better. I get that one a lot. If my kids did all their chores and my house was clean, I would be happy. In fact, many unintentional thoughts my clients come to me with are very similar to those last two. If this certain aspect of my life were different, then I would feel better. I want to challenge you with your thoughts. Question them. Are they helping you or are they hurting you? I cannot emphasize enough that this takes practice. Think about how long you've been thinking that unintentional thought, probably a while. So while you can start thinking whatever you want today, your brain is probably going to bounce back to that path that leads to those painful emotions, even though it leads to pain, because remember, your brain is trying to preserve its energy. But it's totally possible. I've done this many times over in my own life, and it's so worth the work. So, as always, if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, write them down, bring them to your session with me. Please do the work pages I give you. That will help you figure out your thoughts and feelings so much more than just showing up to coaching with me without doing that work ahead of time. Yes, it takes work, but you are worth it. I'll see you in the next video, all about feelings.